For this podcast, I'm going to talk about Outlook and some tips in terms of trying to keep down your inbox and control the stress that we always get from having so many emails come in. So some of the things that we can do with our inbox is to set up some rules to move emails as they come in straight to a particular folder. Something that it doesn't require your attention immediately can be moved away into a folder, and once the numbers tick away and it says you have 1 unread, 2 unread, 10 unread, whatever your limit is, then you'll go into that folder and then go off and read those messages. Maybe you get notifications about podcasts or Facebook or LinkedIn or other mediums. That's where it would be nice to say, if I get something from that subscription, go straight to that subscription folder and then deal with it, have a look at it later. Often we create emails that I'm just responding, but it's just a quick response. It's not that I need a historical history that, that's what took place in the conversation. It might be that someone's saying, hey, can you have lunch such and such a date? And you go, yep, I can. Well, there's no need to keep a message like that. So you can reply to it, but tick a box that says do not save. So you can customize your quick access toolbar and your ribbon commands. So I would add that button that says do not save. If you're the type of person that sends out your emails and then just leaves everything in the sent items, and then that's another stressor. It just builds and builds and builds. It might not stress you out. It stresses me out if I see a whole bunch of messages sitting there in the sent items, and then I have to spend time going through and then putting them away into folders. That way, messages that have come in are then filed away once I've dealt with them. Anything I replied and sent is also filed away, and it's all in the one place. But instead of having to send the email out and then go through my sent items and then file it away, before you hit that send button, so imagine you've received an email, you're responding to it. Before you hit the send button, you're going to press a button that says save sent items to, and then you navigate it to whatever folder it is that you want it to go to. So that's a little, again, another command button that you can add. If you find yourself typing in a fairly lengthy email, doesn't have to even be lengthy, but when you're the only person reading that message, you read it over and over and again and it sounds fine to you, but there is an option for read aloud. So you can type up your message and then have it read back to you. Sometimes when we listen to something, we hear it back, then we say, oh, hang on, no, that doesn't sound right, or it's not framed right, or no, that doesn't get the message across quickly enough. So there is a feature under the review tab which is called read aloud. So that way it'll read it back out to you. I always find myself that you and your, it's not a spelling error, it's just incorrectly used, and I often get caught up with that one. If you're not a very fast typist, but you want to keep the flow of your train of thought, there is a button for dictate. So when you're in a new message, there'll be a dictate button on the top right-hand corner there, and you can just talk and tell it to give you a new bullet point, new line, and it will do all of the work for you. So that's another nice little feature that you may overlook or have seen it there in a corner but just not played with it. I don't know about you, but I have been caught up on this one a few times where I send out an email. I've thought I've taken enough time to put the email together, got all my facts correct, made sure I said or answered all the questions that they had, and then I send it. And then I go, hang on a minute, I should have added a picture to that one, or I should have added the attachment, or I should have said this or not said it that way. And then I go back and quickly, because it was only like literally 30 seconds ago when I hit send, but I want that message to come back. An idea is to delay the delivery for about 1 minute. So you can set this as a rule for all of your emails before sending. Set a rule up to delay them by 1 minute. That way, when you have those second fraction of a second thought going, hang on a minute, I better say blah, 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 you can quickly check, pick it up from your outbox, open it up, reframe it, check, change whatever you needed to change, and then send it off. When you're in your inbox and you get a whole bunch of emails, the idea is to touch your emails from your inbox as little as possible. You don't want to read it and go, yep, I've read it, but I'm not ready to deal with it now. I'll do whatever I have to do with this later. So you leave it in there. And then it becomes, of course, unread. You can mark it as if you have mark it as unread again to remind you to read it again. But you're then just touching that same email again and again and again several times. What you can do is add a column. You can add your own field. You could add your own field called action. And this one here, you make it an editable field so that you can then say, right, yep, this email, but I'm not ready to do it later. But what I do have to do with this one is call blah, 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 or ask them about the price of XYZ, or, defer them until next week, but you can't call them right now. So just note of what it is that you might need to do with this piece of information a little bit later on down the track. Now, creating that action button, you will go to the view settings and then select the option for column. You need to be in the folder, such as the inbox, that you want to create this column in. So if you want to create this column or this new field in one of your other folders, make sure you're in that folder first before you go to view settings, column, then create a new column. Once you create the column, that's not it, because otherwise you won't be able to start typing inside that area. You'll need to still go to, from that same dialog box, view settings, go to other settings, and it's on the top on the right, and make sure you tick the box that says allow in cell editing. This will allow you to click in that action field in that row and type what you need to type in there, rather than having to open the file and then look for it that way. Now, that little tip was by Stuart Snooks, who is from Revolutionize Your Inbox Online training. You can also find him on LinkedIn. So that was a great tip from Stuart. If you need further help or you want some other ways or tips for how you can improve your inbox, how can you manage it really well, we can do virtual training session, or we can also do a customized Microsoft Office training session, whether it be Outlook or any of the other products. You can find me on azsolutions.com.au, or have a look at some of my YouTubes on YouTube, Annalia Pisani.